Kali Uchis and her baby with Don Toliver. What do we think?
Oh, I love it. I think they're so cute.
I feel like I heard controversial stuff about Don Toliver.
I did hear that as well.
I heard that as well.
Guys, I love him. What?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Hold on.
Are we about
Is
to
he
bring
canceled?
some bad news
Is he
to you?
canceled?
He's not. Well, he might be depending on what comes up in this Google search.
It's allegations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're allegations. They're not good. They're essay. Can we say essay?
Yeah,
Essay allegations, yeah.
I believe. And she had defended him, and then people were saying she was an
and that's
apologist.
Yeah.
So
It's messy. But
Yeah.
I love Kali Uchis.
I love
Kali Uchis.
I really do love Kali, but
Me too.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other to Don Toliver. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I love him.
I never really listened.
He reminds me of home.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I would just listen to him all the time with my brother.
Yeah.
Just summer vibes.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
That is a good
Literally.
vibe.
Okay, well, I guess this is a good intro to what we are talking about because this is a, I guess, interracial
baby.
interracial
baby. Which are
becoming
they're becoming
normal.
very common.
Yeah,
I'll say very
frequent.
common, very
Yeah.
frequent. Popping up
Hey.
little Jadens,
hello.
like mixed
Hello,
babies.
me
Bro.
too.
All right,
We
Talia.
live in a global world,
Me.
man.
Oh yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, put us in.
Not
I'm
hating.
not mixed.
Oh.
Was that controversial to say? I'm not mixed.
That actually is so relevant to our topic because
Yeah.
I did think you were mixed. I did
No,
think
a lot of people think that.
But
Wait,
what does
I
that
feel-
say?
Right, exactly.
If anybody
Wait, should
doesn't
we
know what
hold it?
Valencia looks like, mixed.
I feel like that's not even true. I feel like that's not even
Pa'lante. Maybe I guess we should.
Ya tú sabes la manera, la gente quiere Shango, los nenes no esperan. Es el paz que nos hablamos, tune in every weekend for the beat, este es Shango. Dale pues, mueve las caderas. Dale pues, mueve las caderas. Dale pues, mueve las caderas. Dale pues, dale pues, dale pues. Dale pues, mueve las caderas. Dale pues, mueve las caderas. Dale pues, mueve las caderas. Dale pues, dale pues, dale pues. Dale pues.
Hola y bienvenidos oyentes. My name is Chantilly.
Me llamo Tamarin.
Me llamo Talia.
Y somos Radio Shango. Yay! We have a special guest with us for today's episode.
Yes, let's give a warm welcome to Valencia Pizzini.
Hola, girls. What's up? Excited to be here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So, what's your role in Shango?
So,
Also, give us the whole, Howard intro, the whole
Okay,
rundown,
yeah.
everything.
So I'm Valencia Pizzini. I'm a senior Spanish major film minor from Atlanta, Georgia. And yeah, I'm an e-board member of Chango. I am the public relations chair. So that has to do with the public image of Chango. Also heavily has to do with social media, things like that, statements that we put out, things like that. So
Okay.
You're doing a wonderful job because Django,
Yes,
thank you.
visually is very aesthetically pleasing.
Yes,
If you haven't looked, go follow them on Instagram.
Yes, I have to give props to Peyton, who's our graphic designer.
Yeah.
We work together as a PR team. She's amazing. She whips stuff up so fast. She's great.
Yeah, so everybody go check out Shango HU Bison on Instagram. That's where we are. So how is everybody doing today?
I'm feeling good, feeling black, feeling beautiful, but that's always.
We love that. Speaking of feeling black, I want to start off asking everybody, ¿cuál es su identidad? What do you guys identify as ethnically? This is a podcast about Latinidad, so it's important to let everyone know who we're representing.
Right. So I identify as Afro-Latina. I'm black and Mexican, or Blaxican, as I like to say sometimes.
I also identify as Afro-Latina. This has been a struggle for me. I'm Panamanian, so a lot of Panamanians, there's just like a lot of cultural history within that because it's so like closely linked to Caribbean culture. So a lot of ethnic confusion.
Yeah, and I'm also Afro-Latina. I'm Puerto Rican, Boricua, Morena.
I know that's right.
That's me. Definitely black through and through. And I'll go back to the mixed comment because a lot of people think that I have a black parent and a Puerto Rican parent, but both my parents are black. So I'm black, and I think it's important to kind of highlight that.
They're black or they're Puerto Rican? They're both Puerto Rican.
They're both. They're a black Puerto Rican, and I think that's what's it's hard for people to wrap their head around it, but it's like Afro, like.
So where does the
Afro-Latinos.
last name Pizzini come from?
Because that sounds Italian.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is Italian. It's Italian. Basically, and this is awesome because I was just having a conversation with my dad about this. But my great-grandfather, I believe, was from Italy. He was black, from Corsica, and moved to Puerto Rico for work. They needed more. Came from a fishing village in Italy, and they needed more people who were like well-versed in the sea and fishing. They just needed that in Puerto Rico, so migrated from Italy to Puerto Rico.
You don't hear like a lot about Black Italians though.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Yeah.
And it's
You
not
don't
like-
hear a lot
you
about a black
don't.
anything.
That's
the
true.
thing.
That's not African American.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yep. Well,
Valencia lore.
right.
Well, I am African American and Puerto Rican as well, Puerto Rican sister. But did you guys know that there's a lot of controversia or controversy surrounding how we define the term Afro-Latine?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have heard
Yes.
about it, and I actually did a presentation about it for my high school during Hispanic Heritage Month, and let me tell you, this topic runs deep. Like, I mean, do you guys know what the definition is?
I kind of know the definition I can share, but like I also want to say like Afro-Latine, the identity is personal and it can be subjective. So to our oyentes or listeners, if this topic applies to you, don't feel pressure to change like how you identify. So let's continue with the dictionary definition, which is Afro-Latino is someone who is Latin American of African descent. For example, a lot of people who identify as Afro-Latinos are from countries like Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Panama, and like so many other countries. So each country in the region has its own history, culture, and experiences related to Afro-Latino identity. And I'd like to mention that this identity is much more of a U.S. thing. So if you were to go to like somebody in the DR and classify them as such, you could face some backlash because the concept of being black in Latin America is seen like differently than over here. But when I went to Colombia, I will say that like there are very much so like Afro-descendant communities. So like that is a thing where they're now considering themselves like Afro-descendientes instead of like Afro-Latinas. Well, they consider themselves that too, but it's very much so like I think it depends on where you're going and where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I guess like on a personal experience or on a personal level, although I am black and Mexican, to some I wouldn't be considered Afro-Latina because I wasn't born in Latin America. My mom, she's Mexican, but she doesn't have African roots. And then my dad is black, but he wasn't born in Latin America, nor does he have Latin roots. So it's like technically I'm not Afro-Latina. But, or given that, it was a really big awakening for me because my entire life I identified confidently as an Afro-Latina. So that, like, after learning that, it made me kind of question who I was in that regard. And now I just say I'm Blaxican to avoid any controversies, but I still do believe that I'm considered Afro-Latina in the broad spectrum of things.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
What would you
definitely.
consider like controversial about that though? Like you'd say you do it to like avoid any controversies, but like if that's what you identify as, then that's what you identify as. Is it because like
question.
where Mexico is like located, like geographically?
No,
like it's
no,
more
because
North
Mexico
America?
has their own. I think it really refers more to people who are from like a Latin country and then come to the United States and like you know that's there because it's a different lived experience. You know, I'm black and Mexican in the like born and raised in the United States, and it's like over there in those countries, it's just not seen the same. So when they come here to the United States,
They're black. They're not just necessarily.
I don't even know how to. It's just so confused. Like
I get it.
That's the thing. Like
confusing.
we in the United States we view race very differently than how other countries view it, especially like with the whole census and like it's very. The only word I can say is controversial. So
that's why I say to avoid
Yeah.
controversies. Basically, like to be avoided asking all these questions because I don't know. Like you see me stuttering, I don't know what I'm saying, and I can't.
I feel like
explain
nobody
all
knows,
this.
but we live in like a society that's so like dependent on labels. It's like you have to say, "Oh, I'm Afro-Latina and I'm from this spot and I can prove it back here to when that my grandparents." Like it's so much, and I feel like I don't know if you connect with that, then you connect with that. Like it's hard because it's like, you know, I only have one parent that is Afro-Latina. My dad, he's Panamanian, and my mom is American. So it's like I've always felt like how much can I really like identify with that, or how much am I allowed to identify with that, like in proximity to the culture.
I think that's the thing.
But I also feel like when people are first generation Americans of like, say, 2 Mexican immigrants and they have a Mexican baby, no one asked them if they're Latina. Obviously, they're Latina. So that would be the same situation you're in. It's just now you're Black. So now people are asking you when they wouldn't ask someone else. You see what I mean? Because it's like that person is born and raised in the U.S. also, but they're born to Mexican parents just like you.
And that's
So
the thing. I feel like this conversation is very different in person than it is online. So
For sure.
I
What?
found out about the so I'm in the same boat as Talia, where I have a Black parent and a Hispanic mother who is not of African descent. And so I remember when the first Miles Morales movie came out, Into the Spider-Verse, you know, we have the first Black and Hispanic Spider-Man, and I see people online talking about, oh, I'm so excited that we have the first Afro-Latino Spider-Man, but then you see a lot of pushback and people saying he's Black and Hispanic, that doesn't mean he's Afro-Latino, and then I've even heard some people say like, oh, because he's born in the United States, like he's not Latino.
Right.
And so I just, you know, because we are a podcast that highlights topics within the Afro-Latina community, I just wanted to know, ¿qué piensan de esto? Like, what do you guys think about this?
About Miles Morales specifically?
Like
Yeah,
the
about the
controversy
situation,
around
the
it,
controversy,
like what people
everything.
say. Because I think that's really like the big thing. It's really more like an online thing, like to avoid the controversy online, because, you know, everyone wants to speak their mind online. So it's like, I don't know, you know, and cancel culture is like a big thing. So it is more of like a online type of thing, not necessarily like an in-person type of conversation, I guess, like, or controversy. In a sense, like, I feel like people aren't really going to come up to you and be like,
Yeah, because in person, people are going to be way more pensive of how they talk to other people.
Exactly.
On the internet, they just pop off and, you know,
Speak
say
their mind.
say whatever they're thinking.
Yeah.
Because there's no immediate repercussion. There can be an immediate repercussion if you come at someone the wrong way.
That's so true.
But in terms of Miles Morales, I mean, I don't know. He's Afro-Latino. Like,
Afro-Latino.
in my opinion,
Wait,
it's
what do
like,
you guys think of this? So if Marvel were to do a live action and they casted an actor who's just Black and does not feel that Afro-Latina part of their identity, like
I
they're
don't
just
agree with
Black.
that.
I feel like they've already done it with having Shamik Moore be the voice of
Exactly.
him.
So is that
But-
okay? That's why it's like identity
But
politics.
they did have
plays into it.
Jarrell Jerome voice, like
The other one.
the
And he's
alternate
Dominican
version.
too, right?
Yeah, he is.
So
I mean,
he's fine.
I feel like it'd be better. I think it'd like be a better representation, because I think it's just like voice, like the difference between voice acting and actually seeing like a real person. I feel like there's a difference, because like Miles Morales is still portrayed as. I see what you mean. I see what you mean, but I think that they should cast an Afro-Latino, because I mean, I feel like we need more representation,
I
and I
agree.
feel like it's
Yeah.
a really great opportunity to cast someone of, you know.
yeah, the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Like,
I was going to say, what's funny about that is upon seeing the second Spider-Man, Spider-Verse movie, at the end where Jarrell Jerome is his, like, alter and he, like, reveals himself.
yeah.
And the moment he speaks, I saw it with my brother. I was like, "Oh my God, he's more Puerto Rican than him!" Like,
you hear
he's
the accent.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh shoot,
He said
the
he's Miles
evil-
Morales.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, he's like evil Puerto Rican, like more Puerto Rican Miles Morales." But I definitely think that they should cast an Afro-Latino if they were to play him live action. But I also think just for him to be more well-rounded, just to have an actor who understands the character more. But
Yeah.
I also think if it was someone who was just Black, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I agree.
Honestly,
I agree.
because
Yeah.
because
it
when
wouldn't
it
be
comes
as
down,
controversial,
yeah,
but
it
within
wouldn't
our
be.
communities, I think it would be controversial.
Facts, yeah.
I'm gonna
'Cause
read
I
y'all this
think-
tweet. It says, "I didn't think I would have to say this. When they finally cast a live-action Miles Morales, I hope they remember that he is Afro-Latino. Do you know how many roles Afro-Latino actors get in movies? Because I do. About 0.92% in the top
Wow.
200 films of 2020. I repeat, 0.92%. Now, this tweet was in 2022, so I don't know how much it has gone up, but I doubt it's by very much. 'Cause
How is that even 0.92?
Point
Just not enough. Just not
That's-
enough.
That's
don't
not even a
understand
whole
that.
person. Oh, I'm bad at math. Okay, I get it now. Because it's
Yeah.
like the grand pool of actors.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of similar to like LGBTQ plus. Like if you were to cast a straight character to play a gay character, like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's not really, it's not the move
But-
necessarily.
They do that a lot. though.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
in the film community, that's a big debate because it's like, okay, well, your actor's not your character. Now's their time to act because this is not who they are. So it's kind of like a push, not for it, but like not necessarily against it because it's like, okay, well, he's acting. That's the point. He has to act and become someone who he's not. So I think that one's definitely more of an interesting debate where I could kind of see where both angles are coming from,
Yeah.
like for sure.
But I feel like for this, at least because it deals with the topic of race, I think you need somebody to connect better with the character.
I think it's,
connection is really important.
I would say like on the outside though, like a lot of people, like you said, Valencia, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I mean, because in both ways, they're both Black racially. So
Yeah.
they both live Black experiences. It's just, I mean, obviously Afro-Latino, Latine experiences are slightly different than just full Black or African American. But I mean, they still got some experience, like shared experiences. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, this controversy does not only pertain to Miles Morales, but it pertains to just celebrities and everyday life. And so I know there's this whole, well, it happened a while back, but the whole J Balvin situation where, you know, he has been like under fire for his music video Perra with Toquicha. And basically in the music video, he has, like the song is very vulgar. It's about like, you know, it's basically calling women female dogs and like, you know, talking about women or they're in heat like a dog, things like that. And
That's
so
crazy.
in the music video, he has two Black women crawling on the floor, like hooked up to chains like they're actual dogs.
Oh, like a leash.
Yeah,
That's
like a
a
leash.
little
wild. Okay.
And so
Well,
he
that's a
was
little
under
degrading.
fire for this
As he should
situation.
have
Yeah,
been.
that's
Yeah.
definitely
As
quite
he
the
should have.
visual.
It's degrading
Yeah.
and it doesn't sit right at all. But then there's also been the whole, like that problem or that situation has also brought up the fact that he has taken awards that were dedicated to Afro-Latinos. He has accepted awards on their behalf or something along
Like
the
the
situation.
award was given to them, and then they were like, "He's not here tonight." So
Or
I'm
like-
here to
No,
He was put
no,
into
like
the-
he's in the category.
As in, yes, he's
as
in
a
the category and
Afro-Latino,
he
and he
has
won.
accepted the
He has
awards.
no. He's not.
How is
No.
that? How is he able to get put into that category?
Yeah, I don't get
If
that.
he
Not
doesn't,
fact
But you
checked.
know-
does he have African?
But that's the same thing that they say about Rosalia. She be in all the
Rosalia is
Latin
very.
Grammys. She shuts down the
Yes.
Latin Grammys, but she's from Spain. She's
I was
not
gonna say,
Latina
is
at
she
all.
not
Yep.
Spanish?
She's Hispanic.
She's Spanish.
She's
yeah.
European.
Yeah, she's European, Spanish, from
not Latina.
España.
Yeah. So the award that he
Castellano.
had won was in 2021, and it was the Afro-Latino Artist of the Year award.
Of the year is
In
sick.
2021, that
Sick
was
work
literally
is crazy.
Yes.
Why
and
was he?
he's-
Why was he?
work.
do you
He's
know
a
why he was put?
Colombian artist. Do I know why?
Like, does
I
he have
no
African
idea.
ancestry?
Let's see the
No, this is how he
backlash.
looks.
I mean, I know what he looks like.
I know
but
y'all
it
can't-
is-
y'all
Pull up
can't
his
see
parents
it,
or something.
but-
Like, there's got to be some plausible explanation.
Y'all can't see
No
it, but
way.
if you look up a picture of
He's very
J
fair-skinned.
Balvin, he's very light skinned.
Wait, can you look it up?
You
If
can't
he does
really
have
see.
African
But then
ancestry?
an article came out that says J Balvin clarifies that he is not Afro-Latino after winning Afro-Latino Artist of the Year.
Did he give it
award.
up?
The name of the award
don't
has
think he
since been changed to Best Latin Artist of the Year.
So now
So
they-
rather
but
than
now
give
they
that
t-
to an actual Afro-Latina
That's
person,
crazy.
they just changed the name of the award and was like, you know what, we want to give it to
And that's the thing. Did
Like,
he
what's the
still
point?
accept the award? Has he denounced
Let's
it?
see.
Because if not,
I
then
doubt
that
it.
is also
An
a
award
big
is an
issue.
It sounds like he kept the award. But the thing about that is they took a category called Afro-Latino artist and changed it to just Latino artist.
Yeah, it's
So
erasure.
yeah,
But I thought
so
the
now
whole,
there's
isn't the whole
the whole point.
award show-
They should have added another category or
Exactly.
something. Now you're just
Was that not
that's
already
active
a
erasure.
category? Like, what was the point of?
I thought the
what
I mean
award was this?
the whole thing is for Latinos, so it's like
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
The
it.
I'm assuming-
African Entertainment at the 2021 African Entertainment Awards.
That's crazy.
This was at the African Entertainment Awards. This award
In
is supposed to
Africa?
be-
No, because they're saying African. I'm like, where is this taking place?
That's what I'm saying. So
American?
how are you at an African Entertainment Awards giving an award to someone who has
was-
no African descent?
He was the only person of that
Hello?
skin color there.
They wanted to give it to him so bad. I don't get it.
That's crazy.
I don't
Where
get
do
it.
these awards take place?
Because he wasn't gonna
now
win
I'm
anywhere
really
else.
curious.
I guess not.
Yeah,
see.
I just I remember hearing about that, and it was up and down my timeline, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. I did not feel right about it
Man, that's
Yeah,
because
I don't
it's
like
just
that.
it's taking away from actual Afro-Latina artists that are out
Because
there.
there are so many. They could have gave it to Sech. He makes music with
I
Sech.
love his music.
Like, come on.
His music is very good.
Like, that's a black man.
Yes.
Like, nobody's denying that. Nobody can deny that.
Exactly. And so, speaking of artists as well, continuing on that topic, what do y'all think about Cardi B? Because I've seen, and like I said, all of this is basically just Twitter discourse,
Yeah.
TikTok discourse.
But it's interesting.
A
So
lot
we
of
didn't say she's
people
not?
do not consider her. A lot of African Americans do
Don't.
not consider her to be black,
you
and
know,
especially since.
that's
Oh.
go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, she's from the Bronx. She grew up around, like, over there is just a whole
Skin
bunch
folks?
of
Yeah.
black people. It's a lot of Hispanics, especially Dominicans.
Yeah.
So in her music, especially in her early music, she's saying the N word. I think she
She
still
still
says
most
it.
certainly
She
says
still
it.
says it. Yeah,
I think she very much so identifies as a black woman.
yeah, she does.
I mean,
And to me,
she's racially
she's
black.
literally black. Like, I don't think anyone, like, put her in front of a racist white person and tell me if they're gonna think she's not. But they're gonna be like, no, actually, she's Dominican. And, like, no, they don't care. She's clearly black. They say the same thing about Jocelyn Hernandez. Both of them are very
Like
clearly
Showbiz
black,
Day.
very clearly Latina.
And that reminds me, I feel like that's one of the big reasons why a lot of Afro-Latinos or Latine like won't identify as black, because black people won't like accept them as black as well. So they just stick to saying that they're Dominican or whatever, because black people don't see them as black. So they're not going to
Yep.
identify as black themselves. Like, there's a separation that both communities make against each other, and I think that's why that whole thing, like, if you ask a Dominican, are you black, they're gonna say no. Like, I think it's because we, well, not we, but other black people will literally tell them, you're not black, you're Dominican. Like,
Yeah.
what do you, stop trying to claim black.
I think that's just a crazy, like, kind of thing, because I feel like if you never knew she was Dominican, if she came on the scene and was like, and didn't say anything about race, but just like came on the scene as herself, and people found out she was Dominican, they'd be like, oh my gosh, she was Dominican. I think it kind of, like, it depends on how you approach it. Because, like when I identify, I don't come out the gate saying I'm Afro-Latina. Like, I kind of just come as I am, which is like, I feel, in my opinion, obviously black. You know, I have locks. I'm like literally have brown skin. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And then I just let the kind of Puerto Rican thing come out like as time goes on. But yeah, I think that that's interesting. I think if she came on the scene and was just a rapper, no one would question if she was black. It's just because that
Agreed.
they know. that they want to like create a division.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't understand why they wouldn't think she's black though.
Like,
just
look at her. Like, look
Yeah.
at her.
Literally just look.
From what I've seen, they would claim like, oh, you know, she doesn't have black parents. She's light skinned.
But she does, though.
She's of African descent. Like
It's a lot that goes into it, and that's why I would say like, you just gotta. I don't even know.
But at a certain point, it's like, what can you do? I can't prove my
Yeah.
identity to these people,
You
these
can't.
invisible people on
Yeah.
the internet.
Exactly,
Like, as far as I know,
exactly.
you're a bot. I don't know you. exist.
But people like see Cardi B and then all of a sudden forget like light skinned black people exist. Like,
Yeah,
that is true.
why
yeah.
do you act like somebody? I think that people think because you can't be like Latina and then also like light skinned and identify as black. I
Yeah.
think that's what people think.
Yeah.
And while that's not true, like I just pulled up a tweet. I'm sorry, I'm on Twitter. Y'all trying to find
It's
evidence. But this girl said y'all have to be delusional to sit here and act like Cardi B is a black woman. Her parents ain't black, so how is she
Delusional is
black?
crazy.
And it's a picture of her dad, but very much so like she very much so still could be black, even though it's just from pictures. Like yes, her parents look more light skinned, but like they said,
Yeah.
her dad is Dominican and her mom is Trinidadian. Like
you know,
it's just like what do you gain from disvaluing people's identities like that?
Yeah.
Like going that deep into somebody's history in order to prove what? Their closeness to blackness in order to do what exactly?
Right.
So it's just, to me, it's just like...
And you want to know what's interesting? I literally have been told, or not told that I wasn't black, but people have said I didn't know you were black. Like you were speaking Spanish, I didn't think you were black, and they're looking at me like I don't look black to them, and that threw me because I was my entire life. No one thought I was Mexican. It was the complete opposite,
Right.
and it wasn't until I got here that it was kind of switched.
Right.
But I think it was really just because I was speaking Spanish in front of them.
Yeah, I think
You know.
how people first see you is how they're gonna like, I guess, kind of like clock you in their own mental system. You know, so like if they see you speaking Spanish for the first time,
Right.
versus like
that's what it was.
yeah, it's like
So-
on some first time. But like I was saying with the Cardi B, like her coming out on the scene, we already knew she was Dominican. But if our first look at her was like without that knowledge, it would be different. Same with you in that situation.
Which is so interesting.
yeah.
It's crazy how
It's weird.
like there's nothing that
It's
you, like
weird.
this whole topic is just so much. Like there's so
it's a lot.
much. Like you can't even really cover it, honestly. Like, it's really I feel like it's low key all opinion based or it's
with
really
that
just
being
subjective.
said, like, how important is identity then, though? If we hate digging into this topic as much as we say we do, as we're like, this is too much, like getting into like the nuances of people's like identity, okay, then how important is it? Then why is it important to know that artists like these are Afro-Latine or for them to identify as that?
I think it is important.
It is very important.
I think the nuances of people's identities are important and an important thing to ask about. I think the problem comes with the judgment and the saying, if you think Cardi B is black, she's delusional. Like, delusional? Like, are we looking at the same? Who's really delusional here? Like, yeah.
And this is all a U.S. thing, honestly.
It is.
It
It
is.
definitely is.
This doesn't happen elsewhere. Like the whole like premise of being Latine is something that the United
doesn't
States
exist
tried to
for-
do to give us a sense of community because a Mexican is not a Dominican. A Mexican is
Right.
not a Colombian. Or
and there's
Cuban is
division
not,
and there's
yeah.
definitely division in the
Yeah, I
Latino
mean,
America.
Like I would feel I'm gonna correct someone if they, call me Puerto Rican. Oh, you're Puerto Rican, right? No, I'm Mexican. Or if someone called, I don't know, you Cuban, you would,
Yeah, that's
you would
because
correct
we're
me.
not a monolith.
Yeah, we're not
and
the same. We're not
even
the
as
same.
like Black Americans, like we're not a monolith either. So
Right.
it's
And
like
it's not-
the U.S. definitely does group us all together, and that's where the disconnect kind of happens.
It's just
So
'cause
it
the
really
US
comes from putting a Band-Aid on a bigger issue that, obviously always going to stem from racism, always going to stem from the slave trade. And it's just a Band-Aid on, like, people taking away our identity. So now we have to, like, sift through this box of, like, whatever's left in order to put, like, a label on
Labels and-
ourselves. Yeah, it's
Yep.
crazy.
And so I want to shift the conversation just a little bit. Valencia.
Oh, hey.
Yes. So yeah. So you're in Shango,
I
which
am.
is which is what we're connected to. It's the Spanish Speaking Society on Howard University's campus. And so I want to know, like, How has coming to Howard as a student of Afro-Latina descent has helped you with understanding your identity, especially being a part of Shango and being a Spanish major?
Wow, that's a great question. It's really kind of deepened my view of my own identity, because I'm from Atlanta. I'm from a Metro Atlanta suburb called Douglas County, and before I came to Howard, I never knew another Puerto Rican, besides my brother, but I did not, and we had Latino people, of course, but the Latino people that we had were usually immigrants from Mexico.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, so when I grew up, I was kind of just always black. That was just like the one thing I was. I mean, obviously, I knew I was Puerto Rican. I knew I had differences to my culture and like background, but I was black, and there was never a problem or question about it. So yeah, but I think coming to Howard, because everyone's black, it gave me a kind of like a platform to stand on and to actually explore that deeper, because I come from a town that is it's 60% black because it's a Metro Atlanta suburb, but there is like still so much racism. Our rival school was called Alexander, and that was like where the majority of like the white people in our town lived, and their school was like horribly racist, like had cheerleaders doing blackface, like
Blackface?
Man,
In
black
this day and-
Oh
this
my
day and
God.
age?
no, and not just regular blackface, like really like on some Civil War, like
Wow.
like red baboon lips
That's
and like
crazy.
black
Oh my
skin, like the
gosh.
craziest blackface you can imagine. Like so, like
in Atlanta?
yeah,
Come on now.
in Douglas County though.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't really know
which
that.
is it's
okay.
not technically the city of Atlanta. It's its own, but it's the Metro Atlanta
That's
area.
ridiculous.
It's like
As
20.
soon as you leave Atlanta, that's what
Exactly,
you're dealing with.
exactly.
That's-
But so yeah, so people like that are gonna look at me and just see me as black. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to navigate that. I'm just trying to navigate being black, honestly.
Yeah.
So when I got here and I no longer had to navigate it because we're all black, nobody's clocking me, or
You tap into it more.
yeah, you definitely. I kind of leaned into it. I was like, okay, cool, and then like met people who are Puerto Rican, and I'm like, oh, finally, finally, other Afro Latinos, everybody. Like it's just, it's been amazing. And then I found Shango my freshman year, and they had a bachata night, and I was like, yeah,
Give me a-
That was
This
so
is
much
it.
fun.
it's so much
That was
fun freshman
fun.
year. I was like, okay, this
Seeing
is
the turnout of like events like that at Shango is really like
yeah.
it's heartwarming.
And how much it's grown since like the first time I ever showed up to one. It's awesome. But yeah, it's made me kind of dive deeper into my own personal identity, because honestly, before it wasn't even something I really thought about because I didn't have to. But now I have the space and like the support to actually grow myself, learn more about myself, things like that.
great. That's
Yeah.
What's something you wish more Howard students understood about Afro-Latinidad here?
Yeah, well, I wish there was a deeper understanding that race and ethnicity are not the same, because like I said, most people think I'm mixed, and I'm not mixed. Both my parents are black, It's just that I have one parent with a different cultural background.
Yeah.
Because my mom's Black American and my dad is Black Puerto Rican. So, yeah, I wish that was kind of like just thought about even a little more, even a little. It doesn't have to be,
give some
just some thought. It doesn't have to be
Tiddly-wink.
nothing OD. I understand it's not a part. My identity isn't part of your, everyday thinking. But I think it's worth a thought for sure.
Okay, yeah, okay. And so I got the opportunity to speak to the president of Shango, Kalea Jones. We love her.
Love her
and
down.
Yeah,
A fellow Blaxican, may I
Yes.
add.
Period.
And so she gave us her thoughts about this topic as well. Hi.
Hi.
So, everybody, I am talking to Kalea Jones. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Clea Jones. I am a junior psychology major, biology and painting double minor from Oakland, California. I'm the president of Shango, and I'm really, really happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So, to start off, if you don't mind me asking, how do you identify in terms of like your ethnicity and your race?
So, I am Afro-Latina. I am half Mexican, Cuban, and Black. Yeah, that's how I would identify myself as.
Okay. And so, how would you define being Afro-Latina?
How would I define being Afro-Latina?
Mm-hmm.
My mom has Afro-Latina is a term that I always grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know a lot of students, like, their first time learning about Afro-Latinidad was kind of at Howard or wherever, but when they're adults or, like, in college or whatever, my mom has always implemented it in my sister and I always see it as a very powerful... I feel a lot of feminine energy with my Afro-Latinidad because I do identify as a female. So a lot of power and strength and just perseverance. Like, we are very strong people, and there's so much to us as a person and our ethnicity of being Afro-Latina, and so much culture, love, like brightness, and just amazing. Yeah,
I definitely agree. I've been introduced actually by I was introduced to the term Afro-Latina like through social media, which was really interesting. And to segue into our next question, there has been a lot of controversy recently surrounding how to define Afro-Latinidad.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I've heard a lot about it in talks of Miles Morales because he has a black dad and a Puerto Rican mother. So I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on the controversy surrounding who is and who isn't considered?
When it comes to controversy, I'm very much like, I'm like a problem solver. So where the heck does this controversy even start? And in my mind, it goes back to slavery or colorism and all this stuff. Like, that's where my mind always goes to. And when it comes to any conflict revolving any ethnicity or anything, I'm always like, look at yourself, your own sense of self, and how you feel and how you identify to what you are. And some people may not even identify as Afro-Latina, and they maybe are, and they may not, and that's them, and that's okay, because that's like, it's just you. It's who you want to show up with, just like our own sexualities. Like, we get to choose what we want to do or what we want to be or who we want to be. So why not, I guess, give that to our own sense of self, but also know when to be respectful, because there's there's a fine line as to picking and choosing and then also like respecting your own boundaries as to how you want to show up for yourself or how you want to present yourself as Afro-Latina or not. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
You did. And so with you being a part of Shango, I just want to know what importance do you think like Afro-Latina representation has on an HBCU campus?
I think it's extremely important on an HBCU campus. There hasn't been, like, as president, I really wanted to connect Shango with other Afro-Latina organizations at different HBCUs. Unfortunately, it's been really hard to find that. And it's important on an HBCU campus because HBCUs I see as a melting pot of the African diaspora.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize, like, it's so vast. Like, the African diaspora is so vast, and it goes so much into, like, different Latin American countries. And there's just so much culture and history there that we need to all be immersed in it and learn it, and also acknowledge it, and just be around like-minded people that may have like-minded experiences, and we didn't even know it because until we had these spaces. And it's so important to have these safe spaces at our HBCU.
Yeah. So I know you said that you've been trying to connect, but do you think that's just because there's just a lack of representation?
Definitely. Like tomorrow we're having a whole panel with Afro-Latina or Latina and Latina professors and staff members and PhD students, and we're pretty much going to have a conversation centered around that. But specifically at our school, when it comes to like staff and administration, there's not that many Afro-Latinos, like at all. And also the culture, the HBCU culture is different than what a lot of us grew up around, or maybe the vast majority did grow up around HBCU culture. But it's like, how do you bridge the gap that, okay, as a collective, we are Black people, but we come from a whole diaspora. We needed to learn about the diaspora in order to grow as people and learn more about ourselves.
Yeah. And so that's actually perfect that you mentioned the lack of representation, because I was going to ask, do you really feel that Howard has been accepting of the need for representation?
Ooh, Chantilly knows. Oh, goodness. I would say not to the extent that I would hope they would. Like, there's aspects in which they're accepting, but I'm not going to say they're fully accepting of everything that we do. And there's Hispanic History Month. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a month where a bunch of organizations want to collaborate with our organization, like a bunch. And we get many emails and all this stuff, and our e-board, we have to navigate, okay, what are we going to do, X, Y, and Z, what can we be involved in, da-da-da. That in itself, the fact that there's 1 month that's when the school pays attention to us is kind of crazy. And so many other international orgs, we deal with this. Like, I've talked to many other presidents, we deal with that. And already, like, there was something with supplies, and some international org asked to borrow our stuff. And I was like, of course, like, I'm going to show up for you guys. Like, if anything, we understand the struggle. We understand the struggle of going through certain things and, like, certain things not working out. And there's been many cases within my position this year that I've really seen the administration side and how they treat these cultural organizations. And it's not right. Like, it's not right at all. And it's just not right. And there's so much to our school that culture is a huge aspect of our school.
Big time.
And if you are not trying to allocate certain things to these organizations that are trying to maintain these safe spaces, that's a big disrespect. And, like, that's a big, like, that's just, like, if you're really here for the students, you have to allocate things for them. And if these safe spaces, like creating these, maintaining these cultural organizations are that for students, you need to show up for them. You need to talk to them. Yeah.
And so, as president of Shango, how do you fight to make sure that we get that exposure and recognition in this school?
I will keep being in all these meetings. I will keep being in all these meetings. I will keep being in administration members' faces and talking to them like, hey, like, have you thought about this? We need X, Y, and Z, da-da-da. I'm also involved in other organizations, and I do, as much as possible, mention our cultural organization because I just know we are kind of honestly one of the newer cultural organizations. I know there's definitely been some new ones lately, but we are definitely one of the newer ones that, like, kind of had a revamp, and we've had to kind of relearn, okay, what can we do to talk about Afro-Latinidad, but also let everyone know that you don't have to be Afro-Latino to be in our organization, but also just curious to learn more, be a part of the culture, the dance, and all that stuff, because there's so much intersectionality. So I will always show up to the best of my ability. I will ask for help. I will be asking so many questions until I get an answer, even if it's no. You know, Howard teaches you not to take no for an answer. So I will keep bugging them until we figure out what's going on. So, yeah, I'll just keep that mindset, like, forward and hope for the best and be as transparent as possible to everyone.
I love that. So yeah, I definitely agree. You have to like force your way into the rooms in order to really have your voice heard. So
Yeah.
I really do commend you on that. And last question, what advice would you consider giving to other Afro-Latina students considering attending an HBCU?
I would say go. Go to an HBCU. Like, nah. HBCUs will put you through it. Like, it's not going to be all rainbows and sunshines all the time, but you will. Throughout my whole journey at Howard, I have been so grateful for the journey in general. Even if it's been negative things, even whatever, all of that is part of the journey, and it's happening for a reason, even if I'm not meant to understand the reason, which is hard, because I want to know, like, why? No, sometimes you're meant to just sit down and just be there and just figure it out. Or not figure it out. But there's so many beautiful souls here. You feel so much more in touch with your own sense of self. And I hope that there's more cultural organizations at all the HBCUs. And also just like, you know yourself best, so make the best decision make the best decision for yourself. Some people, it's not an HBCU. That's okay. But I will always advocate for an HBCU because this experience is so unique and so critical to my being. And I didn't realize how much I needed to go to an HBCU until, like, I have one more year left, technically one more semester left, which is crazy to me.
Yes.
But
I'm graduating soon.
I know,
Oh my God.
like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I'm so grateful. And the people are what make it. The people are what make it. And I've learned so much about myself. And I feel like my character has gotten stronger. And I've just learned so much. So I'm very, very grateful for my experience here.
All right. Do you have anything that you would like to add or to finish off with?
The last thing I want to say is gracias. Gracias to Radio Shango, because I know it's been a year. We finally have
Definitely have.
we finally have our equipment.
We do finally have our equipment.
But I'm so grateful for the resilience on this team, and like listening to the podcast is amazing, and I'm just very, very proud of you guys. So literally, I commend all of you, and I'm really, really grateful that you guys are having this platform for Afro-Latinas to like talk about it. Like, we need to talk, and like
it's important conversations.
Yes,
yeah.
very, very important. And I'm just like, thank you for having me, and thank you for everything that you've been doing.
Thank you for coming. I really enjoyed our talk. I really appreciate it.
Of
But,
course.
yeah.
Pa'lante.
I also think it's okay to like say what you feel, because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
so censored nowadays. If
Facts.
people really want to be like, oh, this is not that or that is not this, and we don't share the same experience. So that's a big part of it.
And that's the thing, because with Kalea, she was kind of worried about like, you know, what she was saying, but she was like, no, you know, people need to know what we're talking about.
We're allowed to be confused.
Yeah. And so
Like-
when she mentioned the whole, like when she talked about Howard and how it's been really hard getting Howard to really accept
Or recognize
or recognize our
blackness.
our identity here,
Yeah.
It has
our
been.
presence.
Yeah.
Because traditionally, Howard will associate with, like, you know, like Haitian Student Union, African Student Union,
Right.
Nigerian Student Union, like, you know, ASA, the Caribbean Student Union, all
Right,
of that.
yep.
Because traditionally, those people are, like, when you think about them, they're black. But when you think about Latino people, like, they do not think about, like, any
'cause of
blackness within
colonization.
that
Yeah,
diaspora. Like,
facts.
it's
So
mostly
crazy.
just mestizos. Like, they don't think about it like that.
Yeah, and so I just thought that, like, hearing her talk about, you know, just saying, like, you know, I'm forcing myself to be in the room with these people so that they can hear what I have to say, and, like, they're forced to recognize our presence. I think that was just a really good, good point. It's something I commend her for.
So what do you guys wish, like, what do you want Howard to do more for Chango or Afro-Latina students in general
Funding.
in terms of, like,
Yeah.
visibility?
I think it would be funding, or they really just
They don't put, like, think about how often, like,
they don't
the
do a lot
main
of
page-
space.
Yeah.
They don't give us a lot of space even to hold our events.
And it would be like a really great introduction. I mean, not introduction, but just more, like, shed more light on our community.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't even know that, like, the difference between Latino and Latina. Like, they'll call me, you're Latino, right?
No, baby, I'm not a boy.
Nah.
And that's a whole thing
I know
within of
boy.
itself, especially with Latine.
Oh, what do you guys think
And
of the
Latinx.
gender? Okay, gender identity
I don't.
in Afro-Latina society.
Let's do
we should
it.
get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. No, because
there are certain places where LGBTQ is okay, and in some places
It's okay to
in
be
Afro-Latina.
LGBTQ there. It's just the language
The
is literally
language is
built
different.
on masculine and feminine things.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to change the
But that is a
entire-
result of colonialism. It has nothing really to do with true Latina culture like that. It is a result.
Facts.
Spanish is not a
If it was true
language
Latina-
native to Latin America.
exactly.
It's native
If it
to
was
Europe.
true Latin, no, we
But
would
even-
not be
but I
speaking
will say,
Spanish. Like,
People here, they have a issue with the term Latinx and Latine too.
I
which I'm
understand the
surprised
issue
that
with
they're
Latinx.
I
I
understand Latinx
understand
too.
that, but I was
'Cause
gonna
that doesn't
say
even
I'm
make sense.
surprised that they have an issue with Latine
I don't.
because it's inclusivity. You know,
Yeah.
there's some people that don't.
It's really just the
follow or don't
lang-
go by Latina or Latino, so Latine works better.
Yeah.
Latinx, however,
That doesn't
that
make
is just a
sense
United
But then
States
phonetically.
how
term.
would
Yeah,
you,
that's crazy.
How would you, like, I don't know.
Get like your grandparents or your tío or something to be like, oh, I'm Latine. Like, no, they would be like, oh, I'm Latino. Like, what is
It's a
that?
generational thing.
It's a generational.
it is a generational thing. But there's nothing wrong with them saying that for themselves either.
That's
Yeah.
true, because they're not.
It's like if you identify
What
as
about
that, that's okay.
what about like an adjective like trabajadora or trabajador?
right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I think that's how it works.
But then sometimes with like certain, like if I was like, dear professor, like if I was like estimada or estimado, like estimare.
Estimé.
I believe so. I think that's how it works.
Estimada.
Oh,
I see.
the thing. Okay, so Latinx it's dead. It's
We're not
ugly.
tried it.
It's
It
ugly.
is. It sounds
doesn't-
weird.
It
We
sounds
didn't try
weird.
it. I
It
feel
doesn't
like
flow.
somebody tried it, but I don't know if they were from our
Definitely tried
community.
Someone definitely tried it. It
Nobody
doesn't
claims that
flow.
term.
It doesn't actually like make any real sense. Latine, I think, is nice. I think it makes sense. I don't think there's a problem with saying Afro-Latino as a umbrella term though. Like when we say like
When you're
Afro-Latino organization.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem because in and of itself, the O, even though it's masculine,
It's
the
general.
O is general.
Yeah.
It can,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
for everybody.
It's for every
Like as
gender.
women, you know what I mean?
We-
I
yeah.
don't really take offense when it's like a whole like when you're speaking broadly about the entire community.
Exactly.
And say Afro Latino. I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't
mean, it's
care.
if you call me an Afro Latino.
Yeah, I would be
it's
like-
like different. You know what I
Be
mean?
like,
Because I'm
yeah,
I'm an
that's your
Afro
identity.
Yeah.
But a cultural identity is different from what you specifically
and it's like
represent as.
on a on a
Exactly.
broader spectrum. So
Yeah.
it's like more I don't know. It's like
I like the A. I think it
So
it,
are
it
you
flows
saying-
more
are you
with the,
saying
with
sí or
the
no
It
to
does.
Latine? Which
See,
one?
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's more inclusive for people who, you know, they don't want to be Latina or Latino when it comes down to them personally.
You got
so,
it.
period.
Literally.
Latine, like, okay,
I
we
like
hear
it. Next topic. I don't have one.
Would you guys be okay with ending here?
Oh, wait,
cut
I
this
just had
out
one
or
more
anything.
question.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So, Valencia, what is your most controversial take on identity and identity politics? Especially
Don't get
concerning
canceled.
this. You could, like...
No, I'm such a PR mastermind, man. No, I'm not getting canceled.
This is communications
none of that.
minor. You have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have to manage me.
Controversial. I don't think I think anything particularly controversial because I feel like identity politics to a degree is just stupid. I think they're important, but I think they're stupid because I think it's important to make the effort to understand people and understand where they come from, understand their perspective, understand everything that they got going on. But on the other hand, I think people use it as a way to get in people's business and start jumping to conclusions, and, you know, just saying things that they don't really know anything about other people. So I think it's kind of stupid to have an opinion on someone else's identity.
That's
Honestly,
valid.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, if you identify how you want to identify, I identify
right.
how I want to identify.
Right, and
Everybody
people
should
are
have that
always-
freedom.
Yeah, and people are always gonna have an opinion. Like my opinion is that Rachel Dolezal is not black and she never will be.
That's not an opinion. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
my opinion is that. Oh well, if we're getting controversial, then I will stand on transracial is stupid.
It's
Transracial
That's
is
a thing.
stupid.
I forgot that's a
it is a
thing.
thing.
The Rachel Dolezal, like yo, like
and the fact that she didn't she teach here or she went to school here.
She
Which one
went
was
to
it?
school here.
Wait,
and then
wait. For those who don't know, aka me, y'all want to give me a quick rundown?
So Rachel Dolezal is a woman who,
Pretends to be black.
yeah,
Basically.
but like
Says
did
she's
it
black.
pretty well and was like everybody
Said
like
all the
thought
right
she
things,
yeah
you
everyone
know.
thought she was black. She had braids. She
I
had
know
a
who you're
tan.
talking about.
She worked for the NAACP. She literally worked for the NAACP.
I'm gonna show you a
Oh,
picture.
wait.
This is her.
Yeah, shorty.
Yeah.
but then put the side by side where they show her when she was a she does look scary. Where they have her as a kid
Uncanny Valley.
because her parents came out and were like, our daughter's white. And people were
Like,
That's her
shocked.
as a child. Yeah.
Do that. Wait.
People really
I feel like it's not
blackfish
that,
like
I was gonna say,
blackfish is
it's not that hard to
crazy.
blackfish. When you let our identity and our culture be that accessible to people, it is not that hard to
Girl, she look
blackfish.
Afro-Latina, honestly.
I'm so dead, yo.
Hey, that's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah, that's
crazy.
my opinion. Transracial is
crazy.
stupid. Like what?
She is crazy.
Because you could never be black.
She would get past me, unfortunately.
She would,
She would get
like,
past me.
Because I'm not
doing a
in her
background,
business,
right?
Like
I'm
I
not doing
just
a
said.
background check.
this is
I believe
a
you.
white woman.
She's
Yeah,
white.
You're so
Yep.
blonde.
It's you in disbelief, still looking at this
European
one picture.
I
That's
did
so
hear
funny.
about her. Oh my god.
But what was the point? What was the reason? What did you gain? I don't get it.
She really
wanna be so bad.
really
Down with the
felt
culture.
like in her heart that she was black. Like she had her parents had adopted other, like her siblings were black. So I think that really like probably affected her like in her formative
so
years.
she thought.
She really thought
Has
she was
anybody ever
black.
seen Girlfriends?
Yes, I
Do you
know
remember
exactly
that
what you're talking
episode
about.
where what's her face's sister came in and they were all in the hair salon?
She said
and
the
then-
N-word,
and She
right?
said the N-word.
Yep.
And then like
Whoa.
because her
Whoa, by
sister
the
was
way.
mixed. It's the girl. It's the mom from Vampire Diaries. I forget her name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but basically it was just like a Rachel Dolezal. I don't care about her last name
Yeah.
enough to do it right.
It was
But
before it even happened.
It was
too.
before it happened. So that's crazy that the episode came out and you still did that. There was a Girlfriends episode.
There's always been
I'm still stuck on the
white women
transracial.
committed to the bit of being black.
Look at Kim Kardashian. Look at Kylie Jenner. Like, look at Khloe Kardashian.
Them, I think it's more so about the aesthetics than like being a black
Girl,
person.
Like trying to claim black.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they know they can be researched down. They know
Yeah, when you're
that
that
they
in
know
the
that your
public
mom is in the public
Is
eye. Your
Christian.
dad
That's
was in
who
the
Yeah, the whole
public
family
eye.
is.
Well,
Yeah.
they do
It's
say
crazy.
Khloe's dad is OJ, but we're not going to get into
Oh,
this
that's-
now.
I don't know that I
'Cause
believe
she might be.
But yeah, I think their thing is more so on aesthetics, which are going to be harder to gatekeep and police, especially in this day and age. Like all our stuff's on the internet.
Yep.
And the fact that that's like completely legal to do.
How are they going to arrest her?
Arrest her.
To be black?
Put her under the jail.
She did technically defraud a lot of people.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So-
did.
She did.
And she tried to sue Howard because they said they denied her a teaching position because she was white.
How's she going to do? Oh, wow. All right.
If it's
Right
gonna be
now,
all
now
places,
you
it's
want
gonna
to
be
pull the
Howard.
reverse racism card after being fake black your whole life. Please don't blow me, bro.
Oh wait, okay. This just like the whole Howard thing just made me like
Yeah.
think about like the what's it called, the divisions among like between black and Hispanic people or Afro-Latinos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that Howard's even doing it to us in our organization,
Yeah.
that's like a really, how are you going to be a historically black college and, you know,
Anymore.
preach blackness and everything, but then you're going to treat like one.
Yeah.
Because we are a part of the diaspora.
We
We're a
are.
big part.
Yeah.
So
We're a huge
that's
part.
crazy.
Right.
That's like
Biggest,
a prime,
actually.
Because
like,
majority of the slave
literally
ships went
went
over to South America,
yeah,
Brazil, the
Brazil.
Caribbean.
And the fact that the school is literally like continuing that division between Black and
Yeah.
Afro-Latine students or people in general, like it's gonna.
it sucks.
Come on, guys,
Do better.
Let's do
It definitely
a
do
little
better.
bit better.
Do better.
Yes.
And
Do
so,
better.
That is the time we have for today.
yeah, this was a great conversation.
Yeah, this was nice.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I just want to give a huge thank you, gracias a Valencia
Oh
for
my
participating
God,
today.
no, de qué, mami. Invite me back anytime. This was
Thank
so
you.
cute and
Yes,
fun.
this was amazing.
Yeah.
And as always, thank you to los oyentes. Each one of you means so much to us here at Radio Shango.
And if you like this episode and you haven't listened to our other ones, we are on Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube, so tune in.
Sí, gracias por escuchando. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Adiós.